This is how to log into Sonia as a PSI or TSI. So in order to log in, you must create a password. You will receive an email from Sonia with a link to set password. Click on that link. Once you are there, create a password and hit continue. In the Sonia login section, be sure to select the site option when logging in. Your username is your email and your password is the one you just created. Now, you can always log in with this email and password. You have logged into Sonia, we're going to see how many different categories there are and all the different features that are available from within Sonia. So first, if you click on students, you will see all the students at your Practicum site and all the different levels that they're at. For example, we've got 2 BSW students and an MSW Foundation student. Now, say you want to organize the students by last name or by first name, or you want to find someone very quickly, what you could do is just click on these categories right here, and it will automatically alphabetize up a name for you. And the same thing applies for example, program level or for area. So here, if you want to find your MSW students or BSWs first, this is what will appear for you. Furthermore, you can see more about student information by just clicking on their name and view on the right-hand side. You can see their information here. And some notes that you can apply for the student. Moreover, if you move over to the placement section, you'll be able to see the year for your Practicum students and Practicum site. For example, for BSW 24-25, you have 2 students and 2 allocated out of 2 confirmed. And this is how you can access those students specifically. You click on their timesheet, and this will only show you the students for that section. Now, if you return back to placements, if you're looking for your MSW students, they will also be available down here. And so if you're looking to look at their timesheets, it's going to be right here in this right-hand corner. And so on and so forth. Now moving on to forms, this is with the section where you will fill out a lot of the forms that you need to complete as a PSI or TSI. And so just be sure to constantly be checking this, mostly towards the beginning of the year, and when site visits come up as well as evaluations come up. And so here you can see all the form names. If you want to sort them by the form name so that they're all in the same place, you can click on form name. And see, now all the practicum confirmation forms for each student will pop up for you. The same applies if you'd like to sort them by student so that you can complete each student's individual item to make sure that they're all completed. Now the student names and student forms will pop up so that you can go ahead and complete your end of the forms. Now in my details, you can go ahead and just add some extra information about yourself if you would like. It's completely optional. And now, if you would like to change your profile picture, you absolutely can. You'll just have to go all the way to the right-hand side to this settings cog. You're going to click on Browse to select an image. And you would just click on whatever image you'd like. And then once it is uploaded here, you will click on the Upload button. And that should upload your profile picture for you. And if you'd like to change your password from what you currently have, you can do so here in this section. Just be sure to save it once you're done. And that is just a quick overview of the functions that Sonia provides for PSIs as well as TSIs. This is an instruction video on how to complete the Practicum confirmation forms on Sonia as a PSI or TSI. So the first thing you'll do is you'll head over to Forms. And once you're in Forms, you will scroll down to see Students. And now, in order to find the Practicum confirmation form, or to do multiple confirmation forms, you will click on Form Name to sort them. Now, as you can see, all the different forms for different students are together. For example, here are 2 Practicum students that have been assigned the same form. That way, it's just easier for you to spot the same forms that you're going to do. For example, the Practicum confirmation form, you're going to see completed mine. That is what you as the PSI or TSI still need to complete. And as you can see, 0 out of 1 and 0 out of 1 means that it has not been completed. So as a result, in order to complete this Practicum confirmation form, I see that the student has already submitted their end of it because it says 1 out of 3. So now what I will do as a PSI is I will go into this form by clicking on this right-hand side sort of paper-looking document, and I will click on it, which will automatically take me to the Practicum confirmation form. As you can see, there are some sections that you cannot fill out. That is because they're intended for the student to fill out, which means that this entire section that says student has already been signed and completed by them. Now what you do is, as the agency contact, you will, some of this will already be filled out for you. It will be pre-filled out, but if there are some things that you know the answer to that have not been filled out that you feel are important or apply, you can. So for example, here, agency main phone. And if, for example, if your email has changed, you can still edit the box, even though the information is already pre-input. Now here, for like a mobile phone, Sonia didn't have access to that information, and so you will just fill in the information that the site is lacking. And you will just continue to fill out these bubbles and sections. And be sure to read through everything. If you will have a TSI for this position, please feel free to fill out this information for a TSI. If not, you can just go ahead and click no. And then it's very important for PSIs and TSIs to read through this entire agreement, just so that everything is met regarding the practicum placement, as well as the agency agreements. It's very important that the agency agreements are also all completely read through and accepted. So as a result, you will click I agree after you've read through everything, and then you will just type in your entire name and then the date as well. Once you feel like everything is complete, if you feel like you still need to come back and edit some things, then you can go ahead and just save draft. But if you feel like this entire thing is done and you don't have anything else to add, well, then you can go ahead and click Agency Submit. That will submit this entire form on your behalf based on your sections that you completed. And that is how to complete the Practicum confirmation form. This is an instructional video on how to collect students' timesheets on Sonia as a PSI or TSI. So first we're going to head over to Students. Now there is both a long way and a short way to do this. So first I will show you the long way. So you will click on whatever student you are hoping to track. We'll select them and then we will click on View. This will show their entire student profile. What you really want to look at though is down here you can see overall how many timesheets they have, how many hours they've logged in total. But the most important thing you want to do is when you're in the student section, you will go over to their timesheets over here on the right-hand side. This will show the entirety of everything that they have submitted for timesheets. So here it tells you how many hours they've had approved, how many they have remaining, how many they have submitted. So submitting hours will sometimes be different from approved hours because you as the PSI and TSI need to go in to approve them. That way, it will convert these hours to approved. As you can see, we have 19 hours that are still awaiting approval by us, the TSIs or PSIs. So as you can see, here are all the dates that the student has submitted their timesheets and the hours, and sometimes they can also put activities as well as competencies met during this time. They can also add comments if they would like. This is not really a requirement, but it's up to each individual TSI and PSI on how they want the timesheets to be submitted. So here we have 3 timesheets that still need approved because they say submitted. As you can see, we have already approved these down here. Now, here in the Actions button, there is a check mark to indicate that you want to approve it. There is a warning sign that says you want to deny it, basically. And there is another one that says resubmit. This black marker indicates resubmit. So that could happen if your student, maybe put in the incorrect amount of hours that they worked, or maybe put in the wrong date. You would want them to resubmit rather than you deny their entire request. And so after you would go ahead and approve, you want to go over here and click on Save. Always remember to hit Save, because or else it will not save the fact that you approve them, and it will act as if you never did it. Now for the short version of approving a timesheet, you can go to Students, and rather than just clicking on a specific student to look at their timesheet, what you can do is up here to the right-hand side, you will just click Timesheets without a student selected at all. That will show you all of the students who have submitted timesheets to you, and it will show all the timesheets that have been submitted all in one place. And so here what I will do is I will just click this check mark. I will take a look at everything that was said in this to make sure the duration is right and everything. And then I will either approve or deny. And so if you deny an hour, that is all that it does, and it will show up on the student's end. You can also, in order to view timesheets that are for different groups, you can change between BSW or MSW, and that might show you other students who are also submitting their timesheets. But overall, that is how you submit a timesheet. This is a tutorial on how to complete the PLA or the Practicum Learning Agreement form as a PSI or a TSI on Sonia. So we're going to go to Forms again. And because we are looking for specifically the PLA, we will click on form names so that they can all be sorted based on that. We will look for the PLA. And remember to click on the right-hand side to access the form. Now that we are in the PLA, you will see that some information is filled out, but if you find that any information is incorrect, you can always, as the PSI, come in and edit that. So and if you do have a TSI, feel free to include their information in here as well, but it's not required if you do not have a TSI, only if you have a TSI at the site. Okay, you will continue to scroll, and this is a section that the PSI or TSI need to fill out. This is not something that the student can fill out. So here you will describe the student responsibilities, kind of citing some of their tasks, the significance of the work that they'll be doing at your site, and it's just a quick summary of that. And so you will just include like and then you move forward. As you can see, these are not fillable for you as the PSI or TSI. These are actually sections for the students to fill out. But as the student begins to fill out their PLA, which they will need guidance from the PSI, you can come in and sort of check on their progress every time because they will be saving the draft every time they're working on it. So you will be able to come in and sort of observe what they are putting in for competencies. And as the year progresses forward, you will also be able to see what tasks they've done to complete activities as well. But here on your end, there's not really anything to do. There's nothing to submit. It's sort of for you to just, when it comes time to review the PLA so it can be submitted, you will just kind of look through it, read through everything, make sure it's okay. And if it's not, you'll jot down some notes and then email that to your student or let them know in a meeting in person. So this is really just kind of reviewing what would be there technically. And then really the only thing you have to do as a PSI to approve whatever your student wrote in their PLA would be to save draft if they are not done, but you've come in and kind of looked at everything. And if you don't have a TSI, you could just save this draft for them. This button is only here for if you have a TSI, but if you don't, just submit it for them. But prior to submitting this, you will need to include your signature as a PSI. As well as the date. Do not forget the date. And now you are ready to submit. Remember, if you have a TSI, include their name. If not, the field is not required, so you do not have to fill it out. These red stars indicate that a field is required to fill out. But now that you are all done, the Practicum seminar instructor also reviewed it and it's ready to be turned in, then you can go ahead and save draft. And you can go ahead and click Practicum Supervisor Instructor Submit. And because you want the form to be complete, if you do not have a TSI, you can save the draft and submit for them as well. And that is how you successfully complete the PLA. Here's how to complete the site visit form on Sonia as a PSI or TSI. Now you will first go to Forms once you've logged into Sonia. And once you are in Forms, you're going to sort the forms by clicking on Form Name. Or you can also type in Site Visit in order to find your document or form. In this case, you see that both site visit forms for both Practicum students that I'm hosting are here. So we're just going to click on the right-hand side into this little document button and click on it, and that will open up the form. Once you are here, please be sure to read the instructions and be aware that this form is intended for both semesters. So if you do a site visit in the first semester, they will be in blue, as you can see. And if you do a site visit in the second semester, you will complete them on the same document. It will just be in green. Now, say you are coming in for the first time, you're going to complete your first site visit. You're going to make sure that all of this information is correct, and some of it will not be filled out. That's because this is a document that you share with your student. So your Practicum student will also be able to come into this document and work on it alongside you as well. And so this information, the site visit date, and other meeting participants typically will not be filled out until the day of your actual site visit. And this document is designed so that you and your Practicum student can fill out some of these questions before the site visit meeting. That way, at your site visit meeting, you have these questions to discuss and some things to bring up to the Practicum seminar instructor who will be visiting. And so once we scroll down, you'll see that there is a student first site visit submit section. This is not fillable for you as the PSI or TSI. This is exclusively for the student to fill out. And so once they have completed this section, they will be able to save their draft and you will be able to see what they have typed. Now, you as a PSI or TSI will come into this document and fill out this section, which is titled the PSI/TSI First Site Visit Submit section. And you will just answer all of these questions, 1 through 6, about your student. And so once you feel like you are done, or if you feel like you need to come back and maybe type some more or change some things up, you can always just click Save Draft. If you are a task supervisor instructor, this form is designed for both the PSI and TSI to fill out. So when you are answering these sections, I would just advise that you list PSI and then you type in your answers. If you are a TSI, I would suggest you write PSI before you respond. That way there's a clear distinction on who answered what. But that is only if it's applicable to your site. I know some sites do not have TSIs, but this is only if you're a TSI and you want to answer some of these questions. And so if you are a TSI and you have also gone in and edited your responses, you can come in and save draft as well. Now, if your site does not have a TSI, the PSI can come in and just click Save Draft as well, just because there's nobody else to submit that. So you would just click Save Draft, and after you feel like everything is completed, you have filled out your portion, the student has also filled out theirs, and you've talked about it before your site visit, or after your site visit, you can also go ahead and submit down here. So midterm submit, as well as the task supervisor midterm submit. just be sure that before you submit, you sign your name here under PSI signature. If there's a TSI, be sure that they have signed their name as well. As you can see in the student section, you cannot fill anything out. That's because the student needs to come in and sign this. And then you will just repeat the same process for the next site visit in the second semester of your practicum students term. So here you will just write the date again of the meeting and the meeting participants, and the cycle just continues. And then there's another sign section. But this is how you complete the practicum site visit form as a PSI or TSI. How to fill out the semester evaluation for students for PSIs or TSIs. So first you're going on to Sonia. You're going to go to Forms. Once you are in Forms, you will try to find the site evaluation, and you will see that there is not a specific document that is labeled site evaluation. That is actually because it is piled together with the PLA. And so what you're going to do is you're going to find the specific student's PLA who you are going to be evaluating. So you'll click on form name to sort of organize all the documents. So we'll go to this PLA section, and you'll find the student who is going to be evaluated. So in this case, I'm going to click here on their PLA, and I'll go all the way to the right-hand side and click Document. Now that I am in the document, you'll see that now there is an evaluation section. Those will be down here on the right-hand side. But first, you'll see that there are instructions for completing evaluation. So you will rate your intern in comparison to a beginning level generalist social worker at the end of each semester. And then students get the opportunity to review these comments and these evaluations as well. And then so does the practicum seminar instructor at the end of it. And so here is the rating scale, which is what you're going to use to base your evaluation off when you are rating your students. So when you are initially filling out the PLA, you will see that these two sections are not available when you are filling out the PLA. This is on purpose. So whenever it comes time for your semester evaluation, this section will be open, but semester 2 will not. So you will only have to fill out the section designated for the semester you're in. For example, semester 1 rating. I'm only going to fill out semester 1 in the blue column. So I will, based on the competency that is listed and based on the activities that have been done and whether or not they've been completed, that's how I will rate my student for that section. So here I'm putting a 5 because it says that these tasks have been completed. And here there is nothing completed. So that means the student has not yet met this. So we will click not applicable because they have not had the opportunity to demonstrate competence in this area. And then once you are done with each section, be sure to save your draft. If you feel like everything is completed in this section, and you are ready for it to be shown to the student and for it to be shown to your practicum seminar, the student's practicum seminar instructor, then you can go ahead and submit it. But if you're going to go back and make some edits and changes, be sure to just save the draft as opposed to submitting it completely. And then, as you can see on the bottom here, it averages out the amount based on what you rated your student. And then furthermore, down here, once you have submitted or saved your draft here, based on any ratings that you gave, so like for example, here in 1.5, since they have not had a chance to complete it, you can write that down. You can write that down as a reason that they were not able to. So 1.5, student has not And while it is not required that you fill out a comment every single time you rate somebody or you rate something, it can be helpful for you as the PSI or TSI to keep track of why you rated them a certain way, or to keep track of maybe some tasks that they have done to fulfill this objective. Now keep in mind, only fill out your corresponding semester. If you are in semester 1, then you should not be able to fill out the semester 2 comments. So you will only be able to submit semester 1 comments and semester 1 ratings. And so this is exactly what you'll do throughout the entire form, and just continue to scroll through and, save the drafts as you make changes to this evaluation. And then once you feel like you are all done, you will submit each competency evaluation. And remember, the comments are helpful to you. They're also helpful to students, but you don't need to provide a comment for every single rating. They are more so for explaining purposes and to keep track of, why maybe you gave a student a 3 instead of a 4, or, a slight disparity in rating that otherwise would not have been there before. For example, why this competency gets a 1, but this one gets a 5. So that could be something that you could explain, down here in the comments. But you will continue to do this, and you will continue to save draft in each section, each competency, until you reach the end. And once you have submitted all of them, once you have saved draft and submitted all of them, you will find all the way at the bottom that there is a Save Draft button, both for PSIs and TSIs. If you do not have a TSI at your site, then just go ahead and save draft for them. If you do have a TSI on site, they are also allowed to come into this form and provide either ratings or provide either comments. And so they can come in and save the draft as well, and then submit their own section. Now, once everything is completed, you have saved and submitted all of the competencies from this box and so on forward. If you have submitted all of them, then you can go ahead as the PSI, you can go ahead and click submit. And then if you do not have a TSI, you can go ahead and submit for the TSI. But if you do have a TSI, they can go ahead and submit on their own if everyone has agreed that this is what they want to evaluate the student as. And so once you are all submitted, you will see that your signature is here. Make sure that is the correct name. And if you have a TSI, they will sign their name here as well. And so that is how you complete the student evaluation each semester.